What's up, guys? So this video is going to be about the 5-plex I purchased and also on the 4-plex that I'm working on purchasing. So this is just going to break down really the difference between a commercial loan and a residential loan or residential investment loan kind of thing, you know? So there was mistakes that I made on my end that hopefully I can share with you and you can learn from. And you know, when you go down your venture of buying your first property, it's something you could look back on and remember. And maybe you already know this and this would just be not worth your time, I guess. So major difference, guys, is if you have 4 units and under, or 4 homes on a lot or whatever, anything to do with 4 rentals in a sense, right? On a single property, you could qualify for a Freddie and Fannie loan. And those are both government sponsored loans. So basically how it works is it doesn't matter. The only company that I know of is Wells Fargo that actually retains their loans, or majority of their loans. Someone like Rocket Mortgage, I think Rocket Mortgage sells off 90%, and Chase and everybody else, yeah, they sell them off too. Basically, when you go you know, buy a home or you buy a property, if it's 4 units and under, the bank will come and say, okay, you know, you bought it for, let's say, $500,000, you put your 100 grand down, that was like, you know, 20%, right? And so they say, hey, you owe us 400,000 at this rate or whatever. And you're like, okay, shake hands. The next month you're going to get a letter in your mail saying somebody else has bought your mortgage. Please start paying this person now. You're going to be like, what the hell? That's just the way this works. Basically, they don't hold that piece of paper to maturity. They sell it. And not to dive so deep into this, but for them, it makes a lot more sense because if you borrowed, let's say, $100,000 at, let's say, 4%, to someone else over the course of 30 years, like I'm talking about a 30-year mortgage, that's worth $200,000 in total money collected and everything. So what would happen is if I was the person that loaned it to you at, like, you know, you gave me 20 grand or whatever the math worked out, but you owe me 100 grand, right? And I know I'm going to make 100 grand off for you over the course of 30 years. I might just say, man, 30 years is too long to wait. Hey, I will sell somebody else to say, hey, for 105,000, 5,000 profit, I'll give you this note. That's what happens. It changes. And the government is the biggest buyer of them, and they're easy to do and they're easy to flip. Now, the second that you get into 5 units and above, the government can no longer purchase, and it becomes a business, right? So it becomes a little bit harder to find that financing. And, you know, my loan originally, when I tried to go for it, it failed because it didn't have enough rental history, right? Because the bank isn't going to view it no more just as a rental. They're viewing it as a business. And if your business only has 6 months of cash flow or 6 months of rents, they're going to be like, we don't know. We're not going to, you know, why would we take that risk, right? So I called, you know, 20 banks. I found a bank that would do it. And this is what happened. This is the difference between the two. When we went for the commercial loan, it cost me $4,000 to do the appraisal. If this would have been a normal, you know, if it would have been just one less house, it would have cost me $500 a piece. It would have cost me $2,000 to do it. It literally doubled the cost of the appraisal. And let me see, I got notes written on it, so I was trying to share it with you guys. So, okay, yeah. So they're evaluating this like a business. So basically, they also wanted more down because of the environment that we're in. So I had to pay 35% down versus paying 25% on an investment grade if it would have been 4 units. Since it was 5, I had to put an additional 10%, more skin in the game. And and obviously one of the biggest things is it's not fixed, right? When you do 4 units and under, you're going to get a 30-year guarantee. Doesn't matter if interest rates go to, you know, 10% or they go to 1%, you're only going to pay what you locked in to pay for that 30 years. With a commercial loan, it doesn't work that way. You end up every 5 years, you gotta come back to the bank. And here's the thing, guys. Let's say interest rates go down to 1%. The bank's gonna look at you and say, okay, we gave it to you. So like me, I got mine at 4.5, right? They're gonna say, no, we're gonna keep this at 4.5. You know, you still owe this much, and you know, you got another 15 years left because I did a 20-year. the bank isn't going to be in your best interest. It's going to be in the bank's best interest, right? So if interest rates go up, then when you come back in 5 years and try to refi that loan, they're going to charge you at the higher rate. If rates are lower, they're going to try to keep you at the same. There's a way to get out of it. Obviously, you could just go and say, well, if you don't want to do this, I'll take it to another bank. And I'm sure there'll be another bank that will take it, because now you'll have 5 years of paying on time. You'll have the tax returns, you'll have everything, and everybody knows it was a great thing, a great investment. And you won't have a problem getting money, but sometimes you do. Sometimes you never know what happens in life. You bought another property, or maybe that property that you were in, you had 1 or 2 bad years of renting because a couple of bad tenants or whatever it is, and now you have to get stuck at like the 4.5% or even a higher rate, versus when you could have got it at market rate, which it could be lower. So that's something to look out for. And for me, it was a good deal. It wasn't a great deal, and that's what I've been finding. Even the other deal I'm doing, it's a good deal. They're just not a great deal. I mean, great deals just aren't happening, guys. And I haven't talked about it yet, but in my next video, it's just a supply and demand thing. If the supply of these rentals are low and houses overall are low, then the demand is going to be a lot higher. You're going to have to pay a higher price. So it might be worth it to wait, but to me, I always think if you got a good deal or a fair deal, do it. And how do I evaluate what's a good deal? What's a fair deal? And I've said it over and over, and I'll keep saying it in every single video that I do on real estate. To me, fair deal means you could get at least 10% cash on cash back. I'm not looking, I don't play the appreciation game. I'm not interested in, future development land or anything like that. I just do like, what are we buying? How much is it making? And can I make at least 10% on it? So if a property is $100,000 and it's making at least $1,000 a month, I take out 2 months for property taxes and insurance and excuse me, use the occupancy rate. And that's still not enough. It should be 3 months, but quick valuation. I just do whatever the rent is, multiply that by 10, and I just get like a rough number. And I always try to get it cheaper than that. And that way I know I could hit at least, 6-7% on the very low end. On the high end, I could probably hit more if I could get the property for cheaper. So, the one we're looking at right now, it's the fourplex I showed on my story. All the units are rented. We're getting it for $320,000 for 4 units. They want 25% down at 4.5%. And after doing all the numbers and everything, we're putting in around $80,000, and we should get about 650. You could say it should be 7, but we're going to say realistically, things happen, so 600 a month in profit. So that will leave us with $7,200 a year, which means it's not really the 10% I really wanted right now. Today's dollars. It's actually going to be like a 8% return, but I'm hoping, over from today, 2020 until like 2031, that we're going to be able to profit more than 600. We'll be able to bring that up closer to like 800-900, and then the property should be able to produce. It needs some work, and you stay tuned. I'll probably be snapping about it, and I'll show you guys, or snapping about it, Instagramming story about it, and you'll see what I do. When we get a property like that, and we, luckily this one's stable. There's not really much we need to do except for just, collect the rents. But I'm sure we're gonna, and the reason why it's only $600 a month in profit, because we're putting a lot of money away for CapEx. CapEx is slang for capital expenditures. Like a new roof, new tiles, new paint, new stuff that's going to be coming up. So, hey, I hope you learned something from this video. This is a quick one. It was just like a breakdown for me. So the main thing I hope you took away from this this video is, if you try to shoot for 4 units and under, you can get a 30-year fixed mortgage because Fannie and Freddie will sell it. If you do 5 units and above, it's going to have to be a commercial loan. And the difference between commercial loan and this fixed investment loan is the commercial loan, every 5 to 7 years, you're gonna have to go back and refinance the interest rate, versus the fixed, you're gonna have fixed rate the whole way through. It's a lot harder to do commercial. That's one thing I forgot to mention. The commercial, banks really want to mess around with $1 million and above, $500,000 and above, usually million and above. They don't really like playing with the smaller numbers because it's the same amount of work, and they're just, it's very, very hard to get them to loan on 5 to 6 units, which is going to start being my next niche or niche, because not a lot of people want to do those. But if you could figure out a way to do it, I think there's good money to be made because you could get a discount on price. Now, the only other difference is commercial also would like a little bit more down because they're taking on more risk because they're viewing it as a business and not just as a real estate investment. So those are like the key takeaways. And guys, my best advice to you, I'm sorry, I'll just add another minute. Bear with me. My best advice to you, if you're young, you're starting out, if you save, that's the number one thing. You need to be able to save, because in order to play this real estate game, you have to have a lot of money up front. It's kind of like what I'm trying to show you guys with my Robinhood account. I'm trying to get it to 2,000 because my goal is eventually is we could buy a stock, 100 shares of a stock, and then we're going to be just selling calls out. And that's going to be the same thing as collecting rent. Same thing goes for real estate. It's a lot safer, but it costs a lot more capital to get in. And you have all these different variations, but what's a good number? What's step one? I think personally, step one is to save at least at the minimum end is $50,000. Once you get $50,000 saved, you'll be in a very, very good and healthy spot. Of course, you could do it with less. There's a lot of other things that you could do. I don't have enough time to bring in to get into those things, but the main thing is if you could save up to $50,000, which is very doable, you could start. Realistically, I think you need 100, at least in this market where I am right now, because things go fast and you got to have cash ready in order to put in offers. But you could take that $50,000 and you can invest in other states, right? A great book I like to plug in. A lot of you guys that message me, personally, I've told you this book. It's called Long Distance Real Estate Investing by David Green. And that's Long Distance Real Estate Investing by David Green. And they also have a show called Bigger Pockets on podcast, and they have their Instagram. Just start listening to them and they'll give you a lot more advice than I can. My advice to you is you need to be able to have cash in order to play this game. That's not to discourage, that's just the truth. I'm sorry if I offended anyone, but that's just, that's something you could do though. It's very attainable. It's gonna take a lot of hard work. It's gonna take a lot of time and dedication, but you could do it. And after that, along the way, once you get close to that number and you've saved your money, like a year out before you're really, really serious about doing it, start building connections in your local area or the area that you want to invest in. So how do you do that? You literally Google property managers in, your area, and you'll get a whole list of them, call them, say, hey, I am so-and-so. I'm a real estate investor, got to fake it till you make it. And I was wondering if I could get on your guys' list, on your email list, if you guys have properties available in the area. They'll say, sure. What's your information? Blah, blah, blah. And he's like, yeah, now what do you guys charge? You start building that relationship with those property managers. Same thing with real estate agents. When you're looking on Zillow, Redfin, just hit the call button. Just call 3 people a week or 2. Just call 2. Hey, I'm so-and-so. I'm a real estate investor in the area. I realized you're listing this. Give me some details. Okay. Hey, I'm always interested. I'm always looking at property. Hey, here's my email. Shoot me an email whenever you have something come up or before it comes up to market. Okay, cool. Boom. You're just building this little connection, and that's where I would start if I had to do it all over again. So hey, that's what I got for you guys on this one. I really hope this helps somewhat. I hope you learned at least one thing. If you did, please share it with a friend. Help me grow the page.